City Council debates new distance guidelines for homeless encampments. Good evening and thank you for joining us. Due to technical issues with us being able to receive national news items to our station, today's newscast will just be half an hour. Thunder Bay City Council has approved its new distance guidelines for homeless encampments.
They outline how far tents should be from things like private property lines or rivers. The one councillor continues to argue the distance guidelines should be greater.
Tensions were high at City Hall during another discussion regarding the response to homelessness and the new distance guidelines for tents.
So we're talking about building trust and cooperation with the residents of the encampments. What about the residents of the city of Thunder Bay?
At-large Councillor Trevor Gertuga argued for the distance guidelines to be greater, believing they're not significant enough to make an impact. Gertuga received support to have city staff look into increasing the guidelines for trails, sidewalks, and parking lots to 10 meters, with information coming back August 12th. The approval also means tents can't be set up within 5 meters of a railway or river, or 20 meters of private property. Gertuga reminded council that under this plan, no encampment resident needs to follow the guidelines.
I'll probably agree to move here, but then you tell them, you want to move? They don't have to move. That's the problem here. We hear it, we get phone calls. I mean, how many phone calls and emails do we all get? Administration doesn't get that.
These are human beings. These are not cattle that could be just prodded here or there.
Others like Councillor Brian Hamilton recognize that moving tents would be voluntary, but says encampment residents aren't trying to be disruptive.
They're not here to make your lives miserable. In many cases, they are, suffering, enduring circumstances in their own lives that's why they're living rough in the first place.
Some around the table argued that the plan isn't meant to be the only solution.
It's a plague of our times, and coupled with opioids.
That included Mayor Ken Boshkov, who says advocating higher levels of government through the Mayor's Housing Task Force can create lasting solutions.
Now we're at the same table, and you can feel the energy that people. It's slow, but it's progress, and that's better than going backwards.
Council did receive a written deputation from an individual who has a home next to McVicker Creek. The resident said there are a number of homeless people currently violating the encampment guidelines related to both his property line and the creek. They feared the potential of fires, with encampment residents often cooking near trees. The resident asked for the information to be considered by council when taking action to find suitable spaces for the homeless. Council didn't discuss the deputation during the meeting.
Also during the council meeting came approval to expand the Eye on the Street program. 31 potential new surveillance camera locations were identified, with 12 to 16 of them expected to be added throughout the year. The new locations are in areas where illegal drug activity, gun and gang violence, or human trafficking may be happening. Central Support Manager Matthew Pearson says while the cameras aren't consistently monitored, they can still lead to an immediate police response.
There is communication to the police force should they see any sort of the behaviors outlined in the code, and it gets into suspicious activity, damage to property, things of that nature.
The observation of traffic into and out of the city, that can have evidentiary impact for crimes that we're investigating, where perhaps those involved are trying to leave the area or perhaps have just recently arrived in the area. Essentially a record, a collection of the data of people accessing and leaving the community is valuable in a number of investigations.
The remainder of the 31 CCTV cameras not being installed this year will be considered in future budgets.
Ontario's new Lieutenant Governor will make her first official visit to Thunder Bay starting tomorrow. Edith Dumeau was sworn in during a ceremony at Queen's Park on November 14th. She is the first Franco-Ontarian Lieutenant Governor and the 4th woman to serve in the role. She's scheduled to meet with Mayor Ken Boshkov at City Hall tomorrow morning, followed by tours and meet and greets at the 55 Plus Center, Goods & Co., Roots Food Center, and the Live on the Waterfront concert. Then on Thursday, Dumeau will make stops at the Waverly Library, the local Francophone Center, and the Evergreen facility.
The 6th annual First Responders Golf Tournament teed off today at the Whitewater Golf Club. The popular tournament is a fundraiser for peer support organization Boots on the Ground. 152 first responders hit the greens this afternoon for the cause. Last year, the charity golf event raised enough money to help bring the Boots on the Ground therapy dog program to Thunder Bay. The event has been growing by leaps and bounds. Founder Kevin Jackson says there were only about 20 players the first year, and now he's maxing out the golf club's capacity. He hopes to bring in $10,000 through this year's event.
Police, EMS, fire, we have corrections, Army, we have some Navy representatives, pretty much anyone that can be affected from first responder mental health, and any first responders you can think of are playing in this event. And I just do it as a way to just get people out on the golf course, enjoy the day, get away from the stresses of work.
When you have a critical event or a high stress event, your stress hormones get very high, and first responders have a higher level of those stress hormones than most people because they're dealing with it on a daily basis. Timber is so well trained and knows exactly who to go to, who's maybe not feeling so great or needs a little bit of love.
Boots on the Ground is entirely funded by donations, and Back says fundraisers like this one are crucial for supporting their programs. She hopes they'll be able to expand the therapy dog program and get more dogs like Timber working in the region.
The Lakehead Region Conservation Authority is celebrating its 70th anniversary this year, and as part of the celebration, a flag-raising ceremony was held at City Hall this morning. The LRCA started back in 1954 as the Nebing Valley Conservation Authority in response to flooding on the Nebing River. It was then expanded in 1963 to include the area now known as Thunder Bay and all the surrounding townships. CAO Tammy Cook says one of the LRCA's major accomplishments was in 1984 when the Nebing-McIntyre floodway was constructed. She adds that with 10 conservation areas in and around Lake Superior, the LRCA provides great access to recreation opportunities.
Those are a real gem for the city and our other member municipalities, including all the organized townships around the city. So it gives people the opportunity to access nature and enjoy the environment and learn how to protect the environment as well.
The authority is a model organization of community involvement and responsibility for an ecological standpoint.
The LRCA is hosting its 70th birthday celebration at their office on Conservation Road this Thursday from 3 to 8 p.m.
Grab your poodle skirts and leather jackets as Circus Italia continues to perform in Thunder Bay this week.
The show under the big tent will take audience members back to the 1950s, while also dazzling them with acts from across the world. Jessica Clement went to last night's show to take in the sights, music, and performances.
From bungee jumpers to master jugglers to an Elvis impersonator. There's lots to see at Circus Italia inside the big tent next to Inner City Shopping Center. The traveling circus group has already performed a number of shows in Thunder Bay over the weekend, and host Alex Cicero says they're excited to continue performing for the community the rest of this week.
It was great. We're going to be one more week here, so we're expecting more people to come and see the show. This is the first time here in Canada, special here in Thunder Bay.
Acero calls Circus Italia a water circus and says they perform on a special stage, one of 3 in the world. Acero adds that multiculturalism is one of Circus Italia's strongest assets, with the show featuring 17 performers from across the globe.
All the acts are amazing. I think people love everything in the show. It's an hour and 45-minute show. We have performers from different countries, and they're doing the best and one of the best in here.
Hundreds came out during Monday evening's show, and we asked some audience members what they enjoyed most about the water circus.
Probably when he was on the trampoline. I liked how he fell through and got his head and leg in. Bowling pins.
The juggling.
The juggling, because it looks really cool.
That's pretty fun. I probably definitely like the acrobatics and just the juggling overall. I think this is a really good addition to Thunder Bay and just the area because so many people are able to come. It's been great. I've been having a great time here with my family. So many cool acts, so many cool people you can see up on the stage, and just all that fun stuff you can do here at the water circus.
Circus Italia's last day is Sunday. The same company will also host a paranormal cirque under the same big tent from the 26th to the 29th. That show will be for adults only. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
A new restaurant offering authentic Chinese food opened its doors today in the West Fort Village area. Nans is using the space left behind by a longtime Chinese restaurant at that location. The Red Rickshaw was located at the corner of Brock and Brown Streets for more than 40 years, but the classic Chinese restaurant quietly closed its doors over the past year. The owner of Nuns recently completed renovating the space and opened their doors for the first time today. Owner Nung Cava says she hopes to bring a lot of positive energy to Westfort with a more modernized environment and menu, honoring the classic bonbon, wonton and egg roll choices, but with a more authentic twist that she feels customers will appreciate.
Everything is made from scratch. We do the Shanghai from scratch. It was just things that, like, if I was to go to a restaurant, I don't want it to be like the atypical Chinese restaurant. I want it to be more like my vibe, my like aesthetic, and then I want everyone to feel at home. I want them to like enjoy the space they're in. I want them to visit often, and I want them to bring their families, their friends.
Nuns is now open 7 days a week. And after the break, we'll be joined by sports anchor Josh Morano, who will have all your Border Cats highlights.